today I have Mara Garcia with me. Mara is a rock star in all areas, but primarily people know her, because she wholesales a lot of deals. And I have known her for that as well. We've actually done transactions together, so it's great. A great person to work with. But one of the things I also wanted to kind of relay off of that is some people may not know that Mara had a retail business before that. And I wanted to touch on that because I remember when I spoke with her one time, she said, we had to spend, hundreds of thousands of dollars to get into that business. So I wanted to talk a little bit about that business. I knew it was like a nutrition store. And kind of what did you learn from that process, right? Before that maybe helped you in what you're doing now.
So first off, thank you so much for having me, Maritza. We've been together for so long, right? Like you personally have seen my growth, my journey. Like, when I first started back in 2020 into wholesaling real estate, and we came together through TTP, which is amazing. And yeah, it's just so. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course.
I blessed to be here. So, um, but to go back to that, so we had a retail storefront, brick and mortar, before tapping into real estate wholesaling, and just like you mentioned, it was hundreds of thousands of dollars that we needed to invest. We needed to use our personal credit so we can get SBA loan, small business loans. We had to use our personal credit for everything because when you're first starting as an entrepreneur, but specifically to open a storefront, there's a lot of requirements that you need to follow. So you personally, who you are, your background, what you bring to the table is the only way that you will get approved. So I'm going to repeat that. You need to have a lot of money to get involved or get into a lot of debt. There's a huge risk with opening a storefront, which we had zero knowledge of. We kind of went in with our blinders. My husband and I, we knew that we wanted to break the generational wealth curse. And we both had that entrepreneurial like blood in both of us. And that's what attracted us together. I mean, that's why we've been together for so long, 20 plus years and counting. But specifically, it was like we knew that when we were leaving New York, I had my 9 to 5. It was a great job. It was an executive assistant. I was making six figures, by the way, there. So it was really, really an awesome job for me. And my husband had quit his job. He just had like a basic job. It was nothing to really even bring up. But anyway, we decided to take the leap of faith, sell a little townhouse in Staten Island, New York, and just come to Florida. Dollar and a dream, so to speak. And we said, yeah. And we said, well, we want to have a business. We want to do something. What can we do? So my husband fell in love he's always been passionate about fitness and health, wellness. And that's when we dipped into getting a supplement store. Anyway, long story short, we needed to put a lot of money. I mean, I think it was like $300,000.
Wow.
Oh boy. So that was the beginning of the end, I guess. It started really well, but we also didn't know what we were getting into and the magnitude and all of the risk that we were putting our family. I mean, our necks were on the line here. And I'll tell you, I don't recommend it to anyone unless they aren't afraid of losing a boatload of money and who cares, their credit, like, doesn't matter. Then I would say do that, but there's just an easier way, and that's real estate. Real estate has changed our lives in such a short period of time. You were there in the beginning when I still was basically broke, having a 9 to 5 again and all of it when we lost the business. So.
Yeah, and I mean, so I know the main differences, I guess, with what you do now from what you're stating, right, is you had to get into $300,000 in debt in order to be able to really start the business, right? Because I'm assuming you had to buy inventory, right? You had
Yes,
to, so whereas with wholesaling, well, you do need some money to do marketing. It's not $300,000. It's not a
no,
lot. So,
no.
so how did you what were like the key differences? Because I think from what you had mentioned to me before, you were still working your 9 to 5 while at the store. So I was like, how is she doing all these things? So tell us a little bit about that.
That was my determination, my can't stop, won't stop attitude that you know personally. That's the way I am. I had no choice but to. My sister, love her so much. She basically asked her job if they, because I had then quit my that awesome job that I had. I had quit it because they were like, "Hey, you either need to come back to New York or like this is not working virtually and all of that stuff because it's New York based job." And so when I had the business and the storefront, it was doing well. You know, I'm not gonna lie, it was doing well for the first like couple of years. So from 2016 to 2018, the beginning of 2018, it was okay. And then that's when I started to see like this bad snowball start. And so 2018 we had a horrible year, and again we had this big debt and big snowball. It was bigger than when we first started. And because I didn't also realize profits is almost little to none, especially in the beginning, because like what you said, all of your money is just on the shelves. You're just looking at all of your hundreds of thousands of dollars just sitting collecting dust. The overhead of having a storefront, all of the insurances, that all of the policies that you have, the licenses that you have to have, all of that stuff. And that we were part of a franchise, so we had to also keep up with that. Anyway, so in 2019, I said, you know, to my husband, I said, I'm going to have to get a job, right? Because ends are not like we're not meeting and ends are not meeting. Like we're negative balance, we're capped out on our credit cards, we're capped out on loans, we're capped out on everything. Our credit was capped out. Okay, so as we all know, once you're capped out on your credit, that's it. You're basically screwed because you can't unless you start raising money. But again, it's such a risky business. 98%, and don't quote me on this, guys, but like literally it feels like 98% of brick and mortars fail. I had no idea that the risk was that high, or else I would have been like, heck no, let's look for something else.
Right.
Um, so so I had to get a 9 to 5. My sister did basically the job did me a favor. I'm going to say I did work, but they did me a favor. They created a position for me to work from home, and I was basically working from the back of the store. So I would be in the back, run out, go see customers whenever they did come in, do some stuff in the back end. And that was middle August of 2019. And then I was kind of doing both. And then I fell into wholesaling. I started looking, well, I knew about wholesaling in the beginning of 2019, but I didn't pull the trigger because I was on analysis paralysis for like 6 months. But yeah, I was doing both. I was running the business along with my husband, of course, having employees, that was another headache. And then having that 9 to 5 just so we can survive, so we won't be homeless, basically, you know.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
So what would you say to someone that's pulling themselves out of something just like, you must have felt like you were underwater, right? Like, oh my God, what am I going to do to essentially try again into something else? Because a lot of people lose hope and it's really hard for them to try a new opportunity. So what did you do, or what did you tell yourself to be able to do that?
Well, again, I knew that this, although I felt, like you said, underwater, I felt like ton of bricks were on my shoulders. My husband, we were both going through it, but I really felt alone. It was like that sense of like failure. I don't like to fail. You know, I've never failed in my life because I was always like, no, no, can't stop, won't stop attitude, right? And like for me, failing means that you're a loser. In my head, that's how I was brought up. Like, you're gonna work until you bleed, until you die. Like, you're going to work your butt off, right? So when we had the store, I said, well, this cannot be it. This can't be the end of our story. You know, for the Garcias, like, this cannot be the end of their story. They came over here with $1 and a dream, opened this beautiful store. They were all the way up here. Now they're all the way down here. And then we just pack up and go back to comfort. That is non negotiable for me. I hate comfort. I will not. ever go back to comfort. I don't care what I have to do. It just won't happen. So I knew I had a vision in my mind. God, I say, put this in my heart and said, hang in there, girl. I got you. Just don't give up. You're going to work your butt off. I'm going to teach you now how to ground yourself, how to learn, how to not overspend, how to, look at everything. Okay, open up your eyes, see what's going on. And that's exactly what it was. When I had my 9 to 5, I knew that was temporary. I was kicking and screaming. My sister would tell you she was trying to get me to do this for a while, and I said, I'm not going back to a 9 to 5. No way, Jose. And anyone who has a business, that's their mentality, right? Like once you rip that band-aid, you don't want to go back. However, I also don't want to be homeless and not have food on the table, right? So I said, all right, let me just do this. This is temporary, Mara. This is not forever. Just get it done. Just get it done. And, I was doing that, paying the bills just barely. And I knew that the store was the end. I knew that was the end. Like, I just knew my husband was fighting, and we were both fighting hard to keep it. But after we had like a big quote unquote sale for Black Friday that flopped, we decided we're closing the doors. We're done. We're done. And that's when we went bankrupt, which was another thing that even for me to tell you this and publicize it was really hard. But now I don't care. I don't care. It's my story. It's who I am. And look at me now. Like that's how I feel.
Yeah.
But once again, I felt like a loser. Like I felt like I just wanted to, it was the easy way out. And that was the only way out, believe it or not. But yeah, so
No, you're amazing. I love how a lot of people when you go through failure, which I think we all go through failure. I mean, there's no one that's just even if you have success, like failure is kind of like it always like it starts before the success, I feel like. But
yes.
it's hard. A lot of people will give up, and it's hard to push through in order to be able to reach that level of success that you were wanting, which you now have, right? And have achieved through wholesaling. And so tell us a little bit about this. Wholesaling now, what do you love about wholesaling? What do you not like about wholesaling? Let's be honest here.
We'll definitely be honest. So the first thing I love about wholesaling, and once again, I thank God for bringing this to me because I'm telling you guys, if you found wholesaling, that's God giving you a gift. Okay. We think that so many people know about wholesaling, but nobody really knows about wholesaling. Okay. It's just a small portion, but it just feels like everybody knows. No one knows. Okay. Really. When you call realtors, when you call brokers, when you call all these other people, even some buyers, believe it or not, that's been in business for 30 years, they're like, what's wholesaling? It's insane. But when I found wholesaling, I couldn't believe it at first. I said, this is not real. This is fake. Like, how can who cares who I am? I don't need credit. Basically, don't need your own name. You could put somebody else. Don't quote me on that. But anyway, you don't need your name. You don't need your credit. They don't care who you are. They don't care what you are. They don't care where you live. They don't care what. All you're doing is finding a deep discounted property, get it under contract, flipping that paper for a fee to an end buyer.
Right.
So for me, I said, well, I don't have a dollar to a pot to piss in, so to speak, at the time. I have horrible credit at the time. I was ashamed. Like I didn't have anything. I didn't have really any money, right? I just maybe had a few $100 to my name. And it didn't require a license. I didn't have to get a license. I didn't have to get a storefront. I didn't have to get over. So I said it was a no-brainer for me. I already failed. I mean, I'm already rock bottom. What else could happen? As long as the Lord protects my health and keeps my family safe, what else could who cares? At this point, I lost everything. What
Right.
else, So wholesaling, the fact that if you just put your mind and determination once again and get out of your comfort zone, pick up the phone, go driving for dollars, meaning going to look for ugly houses. Okay, pick up the phone and call this property owner and say, would you be interested in selling your property as is? Right? What if they say yes? What if you get it at a discount? What if in 1 week you can make $10,000? What if? That is a possibility. Well, I know it because that's the way it happened for me. But but the fact is that you can go literally from zero or negative balance to even $5,000 within 30 days, where I'll be honest, most of it is profit, like 95%, literally like 95% is profit. Where? Show me what other business. Show me what other business can do this for you. There's no other business. So I said, I'm going to go in all in. And that's exactly what I did. And I crawled. I basically clawed my way out of the hole, and my family. And so that's what I love about wholesaling. And I thank God for that blessing that He brought to the table for me and my family. And I don't take that for granted. So that is what I love about wholesaling. The fact that you can be at zero today, and possibly, not a miracle, possibly it's being done every single day. Okay, wholesalers are closing deals. In fact, we just contracted a deal and we're closing next week. Almost six figures. So
Amazing.
you tell me how, you know? So there's no other business. So that's the part that I love, that the money is endless. It's whatever you put in, and it's facts that it can happen for you. And then what I don't like about wholesaling is that you want to pull your hair sometimes, right? Because, right, if you don't market, if you don't do anything, the money's never going to come. And you're just as good as your last deal. So we close today, we make 10 grand, we spend the money, we're back to broke. We're back to being zero again. So
Correct.
that's the part that I don't like. If you twist my arm and say, Mara, be for real, tell me what you don't like. That's the part that I don't like, that it's still an active type of business when it comes to real estate. Yes, it is.
Got it. And so what I'm sure with wholesaling, right, there are months where you do really great and then there are some slower months. So how do you stay consistent? I think that's in all business really, but how do you stay consistent in the slower months where there's not a lot happening to keep you going for the months that you do really well?
So, number one, the first thing that I do, because obviously I learned, and please, guys, when you're watching this, please learn from my mistakes. I want you to use me and say, let's let me go through that failure for you. We have to fail forward, right? Like, that's why that term is really important. And I hone into that, failing forward. I like to fail fast. Let's get that out of the way so I can make more money. But use me as your guinea pig in that sense. Save your money, right? We budget now. I don't care if it's $1. That $1 is getting dispersed accordingly for taxes, for reinvesting in the business, rainy day in the business, and then whatever's left over is for us to, we also pay our bills, our house bills, and then whatever's left over. If it's literally 25 cents that's left over, I'm just saying, for example, then that's the 25 cents that we can go and buy a piece of gum, right? Like, although I only use my credit cards and stuff, but that's to keep us balanced. In fact, I'll show you guys. This is so funny. This is my postcard. This is my post-it of our bills that we have to pay for this month right now. This is what we have to pay, and I keep tabs on that. These are things that I learned that I had to, like, I know this sounds silly, right? But this keeps us on our toes. Uh-oh, the business has XYZ bills, personal XYZ bills. We better make more money or else we're screwed. So I keep this constantly. I'm looking at my computer right now as I'm talking to you. So I keep this in front of my face every day, and I look at my bank account and all of it. So I make sure that we are now always saving for rainy days for ourselves as well as for the business. That's where a lot of wholesalers fail. They get all that boatload of money, and believe me, I love it too. But you better be careful because, like you said, There's some months last year we did a really good year, but we had 2 months that we had zero. We had zero coming in. We still market the same way. We still show up the same every single day. We're pulling lists. We're out there looking for that needle in the haystack, and we're not going to stop until the end. That's it. That's it. That's what we're doing. That's how we've been staying afloat through all the ups and downs from the market.
What would you say
That's
is
how.
like a healthy amount to save? Like, is it percentage, or the that you save for the business or for yourself?
Yeah. So that's a great question because I use it as percentage. It's just a lot easier. I always say women lie, men lie, numbers don't lie. So my handy calculator is always next to me. So what as wholesalers, right? They deposit the whole amount. You do what you have to do with the IRS. I mean, if you want to go to jail, like don't pay tax, like you better save, okay, guys? So the first thing I do is I say, how much did we get into our business bank account? It's wired right in, or if they give you a check, you could ask. We always get wires, it's just easier. And wired right into our account. It's full, 100%. So we go 100%, 30 for us, we do 30% for taxes. We pay our taxes once a year, just for us. For now, that's the way we do it. As per our CPA, it's okay. So we do 30%. And then we do 20% goes into the business. So 30, so we're already deducting, right? So out of the 100, 30% goes into savings for taxes, 20%. And now, believe it or not, I might be doing 25% for business because, like you said, market is a little bit shaky, slow. People are not responding. People are not answering. People are not, what are we going to do? We can't put guns to people's heads to be like, sell me your house. We see it physically falling. What can we do? It is
Right.
what it is. We do 25%, but excuse me, 20%. But I'm gonna up that to 25% soon. And then we do and then from there we disperse to us, and then we pay our personal bills from there, and then we save. And now we're going to start investing. So we do 10% of that to invest from the business. Like let's make more money. Let's invest into something else. But I'll be honest, for the first 2 years, 2.5 years, everything was just like that, just saving, saving, saving. Because when you come from someone that has lost everything, for us, I'm sorry, we have to save. We wanted to pay all of our bills, wanted to pay everybody that we owed money to. We also bought our cars cash. I mean, for us, it took 2 years to rebuild everything that we lost, but we've made it 10 times more now. Thank you, God. So
That's amazing. That's
that's how.
amazing.
Yeah.
And it's a great
Mm-hmm.
testimony of, how you can go from having nothing to, God blessing you the way that he has. And so you've done over 7 figures in wholesaling, right, in the last couple of years. So that's amazing. Another thing I wanted to ask you about has to do with the roles. So you work with your husband and your son in this business. So how do you separate the roles of like who should be doing what their strengths are, et cetera, for people looking to work with their family?
Yes. So, working with your family is a struggle. I'm going to be honest. I mean, there's times where we're like, woo, you go your way, I go mine, it's hard, right? Being 24/7 with your husband, so my son is still, but by the way, he's our CEO for now, but he is also still working a job, like a regular job, because my son is young. He's about to be 22. And you know what? Work ethic needs to be earned, taught. Like you need to go through the ringer, like I did, my husband
Right.
did. Like I I had to eat a lot, okay, to get to where I am right now. And that was all thankful to my mentors that I worked, like my W-2s, right? I highly recommend that, especially for young entrepreneurs, young kids, whatever. My son, I'm not easy. I'm not easy with him. Listen, I'm on him, okay? But I'm like, we decided as a family that it's best that if he works, right, he feels it, he sees it. Like I won't say where he works, but he's working. And then he also does SMS, text messaging for us. But he's kind of just like in the back end doing the legal stuff on our behalf and stuff like that for now. But this year, God willing, we're doing we're going to start buying and holding. So we want him to physically learn how to be a Section 8 on investor. So that's going to be his goal, and mostly us pushing him. Okay. But and then my husband does the signs, the bandit signs. So he's the one who spearheads that. We just hired someone else to help him on that, because he wants to fire himself all the time from it. It's not easy, guys. Like putting those signs out every week, and then like in a few hours it's taken down by whomever. It's just not, it's really tough, more than what people think. And so he's in charge of that. So he's in charge of like our outside marketing, door hangers, door knocking, stuff like that. He does all of those. Oh, driving for dollars. So he does all of that stuff. And then for me, I am basically, what is it, the CFO or whatever? Like I'm the overseeing the whole operation. And we have two virtual assistants. I just hired a third one just to work literally on Saturdays and Sundays, because we're starting to see a little bit of overflow, and I want to automate the business. That's my mission. I'm not going to stop until I automate this business. So yeah, we do cold calling, texting, and signs for now.
What do you see that it changes? Like, what's your favorite marketing channel? Does it change? Like, does one cold calling works, text messages, and what is it that or what have you seen a trend in that?
Signs would be my absolute favorite. If I could have like 50 people, although guys, code enforcers don't call me, whatever, but that would be like my dream come true, because that's people calling in. Those are hot leads. However, the last month we put like 1,000 and nothing solid. Got phone calls, but nothing solid. And believe me, that's a lot of driving and putting and getting out your car. And so that's a lot of manual work. It's not really long term. And I'm a digital freak. I love digital businesses. I'm obsessed with it. It's where I'm heading. So obviously, bandit signs is not digital. It's all, again, manual. I have to depend on someone. I have to put my faith on that person's going to do it. That's why my husband is still spearheading it, because we're like, who's going to care more about our business than us,
Right.
But then SMS, but it's dropped down to, because of all the litigations, all of the stuff, and things like that. So all the spamming, all the blocking, also with cold calling, like that's the biggest shift on the downside that I don't like with the business. It's anyone who's like really involved in like doing this full time consistently as a business, they see the shift. You're spending way more money than last year and the year before for sure.
And
But
so
yeah.
how do you adjust to adjust your business to the market shift, right? Because even in the last 3 years, the market has changed drastically. And so what do you do to adjust to the market shifting?
you know that's a really good question, because it's tough, right? It's really tough. You just have to keep going. You have to keep looking, digging deeper. Okay. And again, just like not giving up, checking up other markets. I'm still in my same market 3 years in. That's actually really incredible that I haven't even had a chance to step out of my market. A lot of seven-figure wholesalers are dipping into multiple markets in order to stay afloat.
Right.
So the fact that we are still in one market is actually unbelievable. I do too. It's unbelievable. I really do agree with anybody that thinks about that. But that's because I realized that just staying focused, keeping my head down, and us just digging and digging and not stopping and just keep going has kept us on top of everything, in front of my competition, if I don't see competition, but the reality is I do have a lot of competitors in this market. So how the heck do we make all this money and and still not had to like go to a different market and stuff like that? And it's just consistency. I'm going to tell you that in wholesaling, if you're not consistent, if you're not consistently calling people, if you're not consistently sending messages, if you're not consistently sending whatever it is that you decide to do, but if you're not consistently doing it, it's just never going to work. And I don't think that in any market. I like to stay in my backyard because who knows your backyard better than you? Like, who knows your market better than you? I know what it looks like. I know now, especially certain zip codes, I'm like, I know where it is. I need to be in this number. I know what my buyers want. I know. So now it's just like, I need to be here. I need to do this. So I'm firing off, numbers like in seconds where my competition is taking a day, or two, but I'm doing this within a minute. I can jump in my car if I have to and be right in front of that seller's face. Right. So that's my advantage. And that's why I constantly tell people, I don't care what market you're in. I don't care if you're in New York or California, which is the most expensive places. There has to be shit boxes, please, excuse my language. Oops, I cursed. There has to be, please. Right. There has to be turd houses somewhere. Don't tell me that you don't have them. Everybody has them. Okay. Just stay there and you're going to see how you're going to dominate,
Right. 100%. And so moving on with wholesaling, right? What does the future look like for Mara? Like what you mentioned that you guys want to start buying, holding. So what are some of the things that you are kind of venturing off into aside from wholesaling?
Yeah. Well, just like I mentioned, digital businesses. So it's so funny because we had a retail store, but that's not e-commerce, but we're going into e-commerce and we're doing it the right way, not paying some guru 30 grand for an Amazon store and all that crap. No, once again, we are going all in. Okay, rolling up our sleeves, doing it ourselves, learning, and that business is going to, I'm looking at it because the product is right here. I'm like, you're my $1 million. You're my $1 million. I can't show you that. But I'm looking at it and I feel it and I touch it and I'm just like, you are going to be my new $1 million baby, and it's funny because I do have a mentor for that. So we're going into e-commerce. So we're going back into retail. How the heck, Mara, would you ever even touch retail again? But this time it's all data. I'm a data geek, okay? Anything that is data driven, I want to know about it and I'm interested in investing in it. So no longer am I just throwing something spaghetti on the wall and hoping for it to stick. No, I want to know the data. So just for example, this pen, I want to know how many people on Google or Amazon or wherever the heck I'm going to be selling, right? This pen, let's just say, how many people are looking for a clear pen with black on it or whatever? How many people are looking at this every single month, searching with their little fingertips? 10,000 people, let's just say, a month. Well, and I'm just giving you this as an example. Then this could be something. But if I say how many people are searching for a big, calculator and it's only 10 people, which one do you think I'm going to go for? This one.
Yeah.
Because of, right? I'm not, why the heck would I say, I'm going to reinvent the wheel. I'm going to put a beautiful pink with diamonds on it. There's no data. Why the hell would I want to go there? Right. And that's the same thing. How did I learn this? Why did I go back to this now again? Well, because wholesaling is all data. While I do wholesale in my backyard, but there's a lot of data. There's a lot of buyers. Okay. There's buyers. Wherever my buyers go, Mara goes. Okay. It's not like, oh, because Mara wants to be back here, but there's nobody back here. Why the hell would I want to be back here? Now, I guess I got lucky that in my backyard, there's a lot of data. There's a lot of wholesale deals. There's a lot of discounted properties being sold every single day. So I want a piece of that pie. And that's how we're doing. So we're doing that. And then, yes, we're doing buy and holds, which I had no interest in doing that in the past, but we realized, again, only getting active businesses puts us in danger again, right? It potentially can put us in danger again. Not waking up, waking up and there's no dollar in your bank account, right? Like, unless you wake up, do something. We want to wake up and have $1 already deposited in there. Like, oh, wow, we didn't even have to do anything really, you know?
Right,
That's my,
right. Yeah, looking for passive investments, basically, right? Well, as passive can be, right? Because there's still some active things involved with buy and
yeah,
hold. But
yes.
but way more passive than, in an active business. So that's great. Um, Also, what have you learned about yourself through all these ups and downs? You've been doing this since what, 2016, right? In just business, right? So it's been a minute. It's been like 7 years. So what have you learned about yourself that maybe you didn't have to think about when you were just, at your 9 to 5, as the executive assistant, that now maybe you've been able to incorporate into who you are?
I have grown tremendously, like just my confidence, my vision. I'm just very clear. I've gotten, all of those trial and errors, all of those mistakes, all of those failures. I look back at that and I'm like, that's what made me, I had to go through that because that's what made me stronger. I no longer am fearful of anything in terms of business wise, right? Like, I already failed. So check. If I fail again, it is what it is. I know that money can be made again like this, and especially in this type of business. So I know for a fact that as long as I wake up and the Lord protects me with my health and I'm able to get up and go try again, it's endless. I'm unstoppable in that sense. So that, just me being on here with you, me doing other interviews, I was, oh, I wish I can show you some videos that my old job, and it's, you see how things just don't come, everything happens for a reason. And my old job, they used to record us. And they used to force you to stand in front of the thing with all of the other executive assistants, right? Like, there was no like executives there, like, yes, Mara, say this or whatever. But they wanted to build our confidence, right? Like, not just be secretaries typing. No, they wanted us to be a part of the team. And again, that was a really awesome job because they taught us that. But I wish I had the video where I could show you how I was like a little chicken, so scared because I didn't have the confidence and I didn't believe in myself. And now I'm like, excuse me, move out of the way. I deserve a seat at this table, or I'll create my own table. Like that. And I know that sometimes maybe that comes across as arrogance or whatever. No, I have worked my butt off to get to where I am today. Nothing handed, all hard work. And I know my worth now. And that is the biggest shift that happened for me. And I'm proud of myself for that, and believe me,
Amazing.
like, you make me start crying because, like, literally I get choked up when I think about that because I'm like, girl, you've been through the ringer. And it's like, if I could go back to that girl and be like, you got this, like, just keep going,
I
just keep
love
going.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, I can't imagine what you, as a person, when you're such a hard worker and love doing things like with excellence. And so um when you were doing this with the retail store and all the things you had to go through, a lot of people suffer with like their identity, right? Of like, oh my God, I did this. How do I get, and so you were able to essentially like restore your identity to probably something even better, just because well, I lost it once, I could lose it again, I can rebuild this, right? So that's amazing, Mara. That's amazing. You should be very proud of yourself.
Thank you. Thank you. And I literally have to say thank you, Marita, because I know, like, you were the only person at the time that I trusted to tell you my story, because once again I was ashamed, right? Like, at that time I was very ashamed. Remember, I was like, I never want really anyone to know, like, I just, I feel like a loser. And you helped me through that. And you were like, look, it's not like that doesn't define you. It's the same thing like with Brent, like when he told me the same thing. And I just, that was the biggest change too. I surrounded myself around people that are like you got this. Like, so what that happened to you? Keep going, right? As
Right.
opposed to like, oh my God, ooh, that happened to you. Oh God, you should walk around with a bag over your head. Like,
Hmm.
and there's people like that. There's people like that. So I tell people, stay away from those people. They could be your family members, they could be your friends, they could be your spouse. I don't care who the heck it is. Stay the heck away from those people because they're just gonna keep you down, you know.
Yeah. And there's nothing more than affecting your identity is probably one of the most important things. And so I am so proud that you were able to get out of that because I can't even imagine, right? Like it's this hard place to be in. But um moving on, I also wanted to ask as a leader, because I know you have like virtual assistants. I think you still have the same virtual assistant that you had from like way back when you told me. So how have you, worked with them to try to like get them trained and actually do a good job in the business?
That is, it's a big challenge, right? Because when it's all virtual, I was just always used to being around my staff, meaning in person, and even like in my jobs, like everything was in person. So the fact that this was all virtual was something very new to me, but also very exciting because number one, I didn't want my team to know my whereabouts, like only just know like, okay, she's there over email or over phone if I need her, whatever, to kind of be more independent. So trusting first. But I literally pour into my team every day, and then every week we get on Zoom calls. We keep that connection, right? I'm constantly looking at what they're doing, but not micromanaging, but more so just to improve, like to help them. I give them a lot, right? Like I'm like, you can do this. You're my boss. Like you're the front line. Without you, I couldn't do this, right? So I big them up to the point where I give them that leadership feeling role. I compensate them really well to keep them happy because my team is from the Philippines, and I love them. My VA, like you mentioned, she's been with us for 3 years now, and that is unheard of for someone that you can trust and know that they have your best interests. She prays for me. She prays for my family that we continue to have success. She just recently bought a house in the
Oh, wow.
Philippines because, yep, with what she's earned with us, and they get good bonuses and stuff like that. They get compensated with money. Money talks, right? In this business, and so I don't take it lightly, but I also am very strict. I want what I want, but I do a lot of recordings of how I want things done. So I'm like, click here and this is how we should do it, click here and this is how. So they have those recordings, and I'm like, spend an hour on my time, listen to my video, right? And then let's practice. And then I check on that. And, so she does really well. She now trains newcomers. So we just recently, it's so funny because we built a 7-figure business just with basically one permanent, like consistent VA. We've had VAs, but some have stole from us in terms of hours, say that they were logged in. Lesson learned. Also I use Time Doctor now to just recently just to monitor their screens. I had to do that because we had one VA that unfortunately she wasn't working. I didn't know that. Marianne was the one who found her not working. So that's to just show you. But so now she trains the newcomers. We have our first guy doing cold calling, and he's a rock star, and then we just hired a new one. So I keep my team very, very low. Why? Profits first. Profits first. We got to make this money first. If there's extra, like, no, I want your ears melting, I want your fingertips melting. I know that sounds rude, but hey, we're in this together. I tell them, I'm like, listen, guys, I'm not just by the pool, even though sometimes I am, but I'm not by the pool just, fanning myself. No, we're out here. I'm talking to buyers. We're calling people. I'm constantly in my book calling people from like 2021, like, did they close? Oh, shoot, they still have a property. What's going on with your property? We're putting bandit signs, getting cut, with all of the mosquito bites, all of it. Like, no, no. I want you exhausted at the end of the day. and that's it. So I've been blessed with that. But I hone it. I don't just set it and forget it with the team because, again, no one's going to care as much as you are for you and your family and your money. No one. I don't care who they are. So
Right. And I mean, yeah, it is amazing that you have the same BA as of 3 years ago. That what has she shown? Is she just like more dedicated than, typical ones that you would see? I don't know if you just lucked out or how you found her.
a little bit of both. I mean, she came from an agency, and she we decided to part ways with the agency because I was the one who was doing all of the training, all of the inputting, like all of the new stuff that was coming in. That agency wasn't doing anything. So I said, listen, I'm out, and then she decided to follow. But yeah, she's just committed to she loves the fact that she also can work from home. She has a family, so that flexibility. So for her, she really, really loves her position. She loves what she's doing. She loves also her flexibility. The fact that she can work from home and take care of her family, which I love. And it's important to me. They're like my family. So I want her happy. But it's like you said, it's give and take. Like it's not just me giving and then I'm not getting anything. Right. So
Right.
I have quotas to meet and stuff like that. And again, she's just really open. Believe me, I yell and scream too. Don't get me wrong. I'm really tough on her, but she has proven to pass through the ringers. Like she just always is like, okay, I'm good. Like I'll learn from this and whatever. So now she's mastered how to talk to people. She listens to me, how I talk. Her tonality is more like mine now, and it's just pouring into your team, but they also have to show you, right? Like they have to kind of be that shining star too. And I got lucky with that. So it's a little bit of luck, I guess. But she's not perfect. There's some things that I'd be like, ooh. What can we do? No one's perfect.
No
So it
one's
is what it is.
perfect. Yeah. Well, that's amazing. And then what would you say to someone that is a woman getting into kind of real estate in general, because it is mainly, male dominated. So how have you dealt with that?
Well, I surround myself around people who respect us, right? Like, and it's true. I went to a meetup just the other day. I was the only wholesaler, female wholesaler. I'm like, where's my girls? Where's the ladies? Where are we? Like, we need to be out here, right? That is like my next mission, right? Like, it's just to be like, come on, we need to get in there. You don't have to be tough to move out of my way. Here I am. No, it's just, what do you have to bring to the table, right? So like my buyers are all male, but they love me and respect me because I love them and respect them. But I deserve a seat at that table because I've proven myself, right? I only bring them really awesome deals that they could make a boatload of money. So they're like, whoa, maybe in their minds at first it's like, who's this? No offense, who's this Spanish little girl? Like, who's this girl? And then they're like, oh, okay. When Mara calls, that phone you better pick that up in like half a second. And the smart ones do. And that's why they've made millions of dollars after they've worked with me. Why? Because they pick up that call, they respond to me quickly, they're on their A game. I don't hit it on the nail every single time. I'm not perfect, but I learn from it. I'm like, oh, darn, I messed up here or whatever. But I'm also, don't play with me. I don't play with you, don't play with me. But I wish that more females, you and I have always talked about this, like we need more females in this business because this is male dominated and I want to change that.
Yeah. Yeah, for
I
sure. I think
Yeah.
I don't know if there's a reasoning behind it, but I'm not sure, but I do think that women do very well in this business, of the women that I do know, just because we communicate very well with sellers. And as long as you can be a little stern with your buyers, but if they're trying to maybe make you make less, etc. But with the sellers,
Yes.
we're great. We're I feel like we're more empathetic than most men are, and can really have like that rapport with, in sales in general. So I think women would do very well in this industry, and the ones that I do know have done very well in the industry.
I hope if there's a female out here looking at this podcast, please reach out to us. We'd love to help you build up your confidence if that's what's stopping you. That's on my social media, like so many messages that I get from females. It's just like, I wish I had your confidence. And I'm like, if you would have seen me just 3 years ago, I didn't have this confidence. Like you have to, you just got to get in there, right? Like the more repetition, but that's with everything.
Right.
That look at everything that we do, the more we do it, the better we're gonna get. That's period. There's no way around it. It's like we have to just get in there, get involved, and then I don't know. I guess fake it till you make it in the beginning, like in terms of like I'm confident, and it's like I'm nervous, but don't portray that, right? Like that was, and it just takes practice. Practice makes perfect. You know.
100%. And well,
Yeah.
if anybody wanted to connect with you, Mara, directly, what would be the best way for someone to reach out? And do you have anything that you'd want them to send you other than deals?
Um, you know, for now, I don't have, which is my next thing too, because I feel like God is just telling me, now I've given you this blessing, you need to give back. In terms of, I do give back, by the way, but in terms of like giving back to the community, giving back to people who are interested, who are willing to put in the work, I want to work with them, So I am going to be coming out with a course, and I can't believe I'm saying that because you and I have talked about that so long. And I just don't, I'm really nervous about that because my perfectionism starts popping into my head. Like, I don't want anybody to fail. I want them to succeed. But it's like, why am I putting all of that pressure on? It's like, you need to do this, right? Like, I'm going to just lay it out for you, but you got to take the action. I
Right.
can't do it for you. And so for now, people can reach out to me on social media. I'm on Facebook, Mara Garcia, and then on Instagram, Marapreneur.
Love
And
that.
then people could just DM me. Yeah, just DM me for now or private message me. And I respond to every single message. I have one girl, I'm so proud of her. She literally looks at all of my lives where I sometimes take seller calls, I take bandit sign calls, I take buyer's calls, title company, like we go through it all on my lives. And there's one person that follows me on social media. She just locked up a deal. She's about to make $10,000 just by looking at YouTube, listening to all of the
Amazing.
things. She comes to me with action. She just takes the action, action, action. Come on, guys. If she can do it, she's in Texas. Like I'm in Florida. And look, just by taking action, she's like, I'm going to drive for dollars and I'm going to do this because I didn't have any money. And this is what I'm doing. And I'm like, please, please, I want to blast you on social media when you get that money, when you get that check. So I'm rooting for her. So
Amazing.
yeah, so people could just go on there and learn from my craziness.
Well, I love that, Mara. You are an inspiration to many. I'm so thankful to have met you a few years back. Who would have known? And I really think a lot of people can learn from you and learn from really like from the struggle to like look at where I am now, right? So it can happen to them as well. So please
Yeah.
connect with Mara. If you like this episode, please like it, share with someone, and connect with Mara 'cause she is a rock star and everyone can learn from her. So it was lovely talking to you. Thank you so much.
I'm so proud of you also for your podcast. You're doing so amazing. So keep up the good work there. I miss you as my dispo girl, kicking my buyer's butt.
That's
But
funny.
I thank you so much for everything.
You're the best. Thank you, Mara.
Bye.